Hey guys. Um, Usually, well, we'll just start with this. I'm gonna start doing bi-weekly broadcasts because, with the exception of the last few days, the weather has usually been pretty nice, so I've been spending a lot more time outside instead of just sitting here reading or just laying on the couch praying or whatever. I just got more stuff to focus on right now. So every other week from here on out. So we'll skip next week, and then we'll hit a routine pattern like everybody else on here does, I guess. The other big thing was when I first started doing these broadcasts, I was asking God about it, and He was very clear about making sure that these were timeless, not to make contemporary references, pop culture stuff, just to convey truth in my weird, quirky, personal way. So I've been doing my best to do that. But as far as today goes, I got a little bit of a pass from that, one of those one-time things. So all that being said, about the last 2 days, I guess 2 days ago and then yesterday, there was tornadoes taking out parts of Oklahoma, the state, and one of them ravaged pretty close to where a historic one hit in 1999. And some of the meteorologists I was listening to yesterday said that they think that this one is bigger than that. One guy said 2 to 3 times bigger, and it's hard to measure within 24 hours of that kind of thing. One funny thing though, well, funny as it can be, we're watching these storms. They were cruising up the interstate highway from the Oklahoma City area towards Tulsa, and this was the one 2 days ago, the tornado from 2 days ago, and there was 3 different supercells of tornado causing clouds, wind, humidity, moisture, whatever, and one of them broke south, I think. There was a bunch to take in the last couple of days, but there was a couple that were just heading straight for Tulsa. And so Carrie and I were just sitting on the couch with the dogs, just watching, just keeping up to date on stuff. And then of course I got to keep my mom up to date because she'll always call and tell me how worried she is. And I keep telling her not to worry. So we were watching this, and at one point we were just listening to the meteorologist go on and on and on about how dangerous this is, and you need to find cover and abandon everything you love, and blah blah blah. And I just grabbed Carrie's hand and we started praying, just that there's not going to be death, not be devastation. I mean, you can rebuild a house. It takes a while to have another 8-year-old kid. You know what I'm saying? So we prayed, and of course, I mean, Tulsa's the buckle of the Bible Belt in America. We were not the only ones praying. I'm not going to be one of those people that, well, God called the tornado off because I prayed. Those people, Pentecostal backhand. But I mean, there was a bunch of people praying, and like just looking at the radars that kept coming towards Tulsa, it just kept dissipating and dissipating and getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And when it came time for these clouds that the weather people were anticipating when it was going to hit Tulsa, we we flipped it on just in time. Like we had to take like 15-20 minute breaks from the news because it was just the same thing over and over. So we flipped it back on. We were listening to this guy talk about how this one town, Shawnee, just got flattened. Like all you can see of a house is its foundation now. And then the same kind of storm system was heading up towards Tulsa, and it just kind of fell apart. And where Carrie and I live, we didn't even get much rain. It got real windy, but not really any rain at all. No tornado sirens, nothing. You know, that's not to say that we're not going to praise God for keeping us safe while there's like $6 billion in damage. I mean, man, breaking the mold of all kinds today. I'm going to do something else never before done on here. Gonna pray. God, man, all those people that just got devastated, man, their lives, their houses, just be with them. A lot of people are wondering where you're at through this stuff. The easiest way for you to show up is through people. So just be with them. Let them know there is a tomorrow. And you know, all this stuff got me thinking. All this crap weather. And there's plenty of speculation about end time stuff, so we don't need to waste our time on that. But I mean, there's going to be plenty of speculation on my behalf for the next, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or however long. So don't crucify me for speculating. But I'm still, I know I said something about getting the Johnny Cash audio Bible. I got it in, so I've just been listening to the Gospels, mostly still just in Mark, over and over and over and over. I got to listen to it like another 4 or 5 times at work today. Man, I love it. But one thing I thought was, what kept catching my attention was Jesus kept going around trying to teach people. And then people were coming to him for miracles, for the, there's plenty of examples. He was in a house teaching, or in the synagogue teaching, and then he saw a guy with a withered hand. The guy was in there for the teaching. It's not like Jesus was going on the prowl for these quadriplegics and whatever else was wrong with them. They came to him. And, you know, there's plenty of verses for that. I don't want to list all of them because then I would spend my entire time doing that. But then another one that kept coming to mind was Luke 11, starting in verse 5. And he said to them, "Which of you shall have a friend and go to him at midnight and say to him, 'Friend, lend me 3 loaves, for a friend of mine has come to me on his journey, and I got nothing to set before him.' And he'll answer from within and say, 'Don't bother me, go away, the door's shut, my children are with me in bed. I'm not going to get up and give anything to you.' I say to you, though he will not rise and give to him because as a friend, because of his persistence he'll rise and give him as much as he needs." You know, in that allegory, the parable story only goes so far. But people came to Jesus for what they wanted. Man, one thing, it's just, I could hardly sleep all the last couple of nights just because of all the stuff going on, man. When in 2005, when the hurricane just devastated New Orleans, which below sea level, but I went down there less than a week after it hit, and man, you can see it on the news and on TV all you want, but when you're looking at it from 10 to 15 yards away, and you get the smells and just the ambience, that shakes you up. It really does, man. When I got back to Tulsa from down around New Orleans, I had a hard time sleeping for a while, man. I just couldn't shake that. I don't even know how to describe it. And a much smaller hurricane hit Houston, Texas a few years ago. And, well, I guess 2008, 9, I don't know. 7. But I was in Texas at the time, so me and my buddies just packed up and drove over there just to help out. Man, it was just devastation. We ended up just cutting up trees and and getting them out of people's way so that at least they could start rebuilding. But I mean, you look at it, you see a tree 4 or 5 feet across that's just snapped. And I was looking at all the helicopter camera views for the stuff that just happened here, not an hour and a half drive from where we live. And why couldn't I do more to help them? That's something I've really been thinking about, man. I would love to just go over there with a nice big 18, 20-inch steel chainsaw and just go to town. But man, there's a system there. It doesn't work like that. So what can we do? Well, it was curious how the storms dissipated before they made it to Tulsa. Man, this whole area has been so obscenely saturated in prayer. I mean, Kenneth Hagin, I don't even know how many people before him have just planted themselves in this Tulsa area. I mean, there's a heritage here. Not the case so much everywhere else. And all this end time stuff, man, I was looking through the Gospels, Jesus talking about stuff that's going to happen. And there's going to be wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, famines, pestilence, and all kinds of natural disasters. People are going to not like you, they're going to want to kill you, etc., so forth and so on. But need not a hair on your head be damaged, missing, fallen out? I mean, you gotta wonder. Jesus said natural disasters were going to happen. So where's our authority as Christ followers, as people going along in Jesus' footsteps, trying to follow that and come to the same level of maturity that he was at? Where's our jurisdiction with it, man? You know, I mean, isn't that a good question, especially considering that stuff is going to happen? I mean, Jesus said the earthquake's going to happen. I don't think we're going to stop them. They don't have to kill people. Man, that's... God's biggest commodity, man. It's people. If somebody's house falls apart, dude, what? Was there a kid in it? Was there a dog? Otherwise, it's just a house, man. Trees can regrow. You cut them down, make another house. But, you know, Carrie and I both prayed on that Sunday night one that there wasn't going to be death. And they were actually pretty optimistic, but then the next day I heard that there was 2 people that were killed at a gas station, a convenience store. And then the one yesterday, I mean, dude, you can't pretend people aren't praying for this stuff. Even the superficial ones that do it out of celebrity status. But there's all this talk about, when I went to bed last night, when I finally turned the TV off and tried to fall asleep, they were saying 51 dead, I think, 50, 60, 70 something, and hundreds injured. And then when I was at work today, I got a news flash to my phone saying that they revised it down to 24. They found this pocket of people underneath some rubble. So, I mean, yeah, it sucks for those 24 people, for sure. You got to be with them. But could have been worse, and you know, there's still some attaining to do on our behalf. What if these people come to us knowing that we've got God on our side, and they're wanting what we have, and they're wanting protection, they're wanting safety and peace and comfort. But The big change is they would want it on God's terms instead of their own. Zing. You see what I'm saying, though? We can offer that to people, but how far can we extend our reach to? To the people that don't want it, to the people that don't come to us for help? I'm still learning about it too, but the ones that got help are the ones that came to Jesus. And if we're trying to be Christ-like, there was probably plenty of storms on those lakes whenever Jesus was out there with his folks. But how many times does it say he calmed them? The Bible doesn't talk about how he was just like in the middle of ministering, and then all of a sudden he just started talking to waves when he was like in Galilee or something. You know, I mean, he's just like this big long prayer line. All of a sudden he's just talking to the lake over there. You don't see it. But no doubt there was people on that lake fishing whenever there was a storm. It's food for thought, man. I mean, it's like I said, it's something I'm trying to. Speaking of storms, got a bit of rain and thunder and lightning here. This is just I'm working through this just like anybody else. And I would love to be one of those first responders, walk in there with a chainsaw and the presence of God, man. What else can those people need? Right, Peppy? I think he's too big to jump up on me, otherwise I'd introduce the new and improved triple-sized Truman. He was 30 pounds when we took him to the vet last week. I think he was 7 pounds when we got him. It's turning into quite a nice chasing his tail. Not even sure if God can help that. Truman. But, you know, fresh start here. Natural disasters are going to happen. Whether it's just because the end of days, or we're sucking up resources out of the earth like a prune, or like a grape turned into a prune, or, you know, any number of reasons. How can we get more prepared? And how can we learn to just be established in where we're at? You know, Carrie's boss, the guy she works immediately under, he has a house. He owns a house in Moore, Oklahoma, where the tornado just flattened it. And that thing was 2.5 miles wide, and it went 20 miles, I think. I mean, it's just a swath. It looked like somebody took a big magic eraser and just went over the whole town. And this guy's roommate, because he stays in Tulsa during the weeks, this is where his job is, and then he just goes back there during the weekends. So his roommate, she's a teacher, she works at a school, and that school was on lockdown. And so Carrie's boss was just trying to figure out what's going on with his house and his dog that he loves so much. That's all he's got. And man, he was flipping out. He was talking to family, because he's got family around that area. They were all safe, but you can't travel much when there's debris everywhere. I mean, over 100 miles away, almost halfway across the state, there was debris here in Tulsa from that tornado. And if you're in the middle of it, you ain't going to travel far. But, man, this guy was spending hours trying to figure out what was going on with his house, and especially his dog, man. You can't just replace that. Hey, Truman! And his roommate was in lockdown at a school, and he just... Carrie said he was eerily numb, something along those lines. That wasn't exactly what she said. But Carrie had been going back and forth with him from when she came home for the next couple hours, just texting back and forth, just keeping up to date with him, making sure that he knew if he needed another place, or if he was just to stash some crap, if there was any left at his house, then he could use our place for a while. And this is the same guy that Carrie's been talking to about evolution and how, yeah, sure, okay, but how can you believe it when it takes two cells simultaneously existing for creation? Carrie had that conversation with them. I mean, it's a bunch of them like that. They just go back and forth with all that weird intellectual stuff. That's Carrie's specialty. But ended up, man, his house, his dog, man, completely fine. Who knows if he was just sitting at work listening to the news or the radio or whatever, and just he thinks he's an atheist. Who knows if he was just sitting there and decided to throw out a little feeler prayer, the kind we've all done. All right, God, if you're real, go ahead and do this for me, please. I mean, it's a little different than being blessed with a pair of socks, having your house and your dog intact. But I've been wondering about that. If the dude just kind of threw up a prayer out there and just to see what would happen, hoping it would be evidence against God. Who knows? Yeah, we're supposed to love people, and no doubt, man, we need to pray for them. And it's been cool to hear stories of people just stepping up, man, and just all these. Truman, hey, shut up. I think Sadie got the treat from him. All these stories about people just coming together, man. I mean, just celebrities, not even. Some of them are not even doing it just to be seen. Some of them are doing it because it's the right thing to do. We're doing it because it's their hometown. And there was farmers just took their backhoes and their trailers, forklifts, whatever, took them out there and started clearing debris just because it's the neighborly thing to do. I heard one old guy on there say on the TV. It's been cool to see stuff like that, those examples. But I think God is still too much of a subtlety. These are the kind of answers that we need to have, especially if stuff like this is going to be more prevalent. You feel me? I mean, there's all the Sunday school cop-out answers, and really, nobody can argue with the presence of God. So if we can just go ahead and put that in our backpack when we go, that'd be great. But our jurisdiction starts with us. I mean, I know for me personally, God's given me a sphere of influence with people I work with, or people I have worked with in the past that I still keep in touch with. And those are the people I know, without a doubt, nothing's going to happen to them until they have a God experience. I don't question that. Whether or not they run from it for the next 40, 50, 60 years, it's going to happen. But there's a lot of people I don't know. There's a lot of people that are trying to be so fortuitous. Truman, hey, come here. In their faith, yeah, we'll say fortuitous. And maybe, Truman, come here. Stop whining. Nobody likes a whiner. Except God, He puts up with us. And there was, if you guys have heard of Reddit, R-E-D-D-I-T, it's Carrie got me turned on to it. And there was a thread for all this news about tornadoes. And so I was scrolling through it, and I was just looking for news because it was just like a crowdsourced news app, basically, is what it turned into right then. Just minute by minute, people taking screenshots of like just from their cars or just from the helicopter from their apartment, whatever. And there was all these atheists just jumped on there to talk about how it's just to basically talk about how God doesn't exist and rub it in people's faces at the expense of people dying and people losing everything they have. And It may not be the most godly thing, but it was pretty gratifying just to see them get social justice. I don't know how many of those people were Christians that just went off on those people. And if natural disasters are going to bring an opportunity for people to make fun of God, well, to make fun of Christians for believing in God, it should be our responsibility to represent God, not just through the same things that people can do. We go help out. Cool. Yeah, all right. But we bring the presence of God with us. How do we do that? By getting to know Him. And spend time with Him. When the first year or so, well, year and a half after I moved down here, man, I would just walk around the neighborhood at least once a day, sometimes in the morning and at night, just praying. Now I'm just praying in tongues under my breath, and then just communing with God in my heart, just having a conversation with Him. Man, there was so much that happened during that time. Just got to treat Him like He's real. Just go for a walk and talk with Him like He's a buddy. He may not laugh at the same dirty jokes, but you learn to use some tact. But that's how you start, man. All that being said, pray for Oklahoma. Yeah, that's all I got. So, love you guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks and not one. So, if you need a peek at my gorgeous face, you can look at one of the replays. Yeah, hope you guys are all doing well, and we will talk.